All right, good afternoon, everyone. May 18th, very, very excited to be here in front of you and share some of my own personal strategies, how I really attempt to get listings, how to talk and consult with the seller. And I do a lot of stuff that really is unique, I say, not necessarily, never been done before, but I do what's called above and beyond analysis, consultations on the behalf of the client, their best interest, trying to come together with the plan and give a very neutral perspective about the property, about the sales price, about the market, about the neighborhood, and about the economics of strategy of timing, if they have to buy another property or not, and kind of giving them a thorough analysis is what I'd say. And I know a lot of you guys are great at talking and giving a CMA, but maybe some of the ideas that I shared today will help you become a stronger consultant, knowing a lot of the options available to the sellers or the buyers. So today we're going to focus on the listing agreement, primarily on the strategic part and the analysis, not necessarily pricing the property out. I've already covered a lot of that stuff in my prior videos. So anything you want me to cover, or anyone while I'm focusing on sellers and the listing presentation? I can add that more.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Calvin. Yeah, regarding the adobo and tenant adobo, and normally, according to the agreement, and the seller have to provide like within like 7 days. But if the seller keep postpone and because we need to know, are they paying on current, right? So and the seller
you would notice to perform the seller.
Send the
Notice to seller to perform.
Okay, I see. Okay, got it.
If it's part of your contract and you ask for the tenant estoppels, and the only way it's part of the contract is if you use the RIPA form, the income property purchase agreement. That one has a checkbox to ask that tenant estoppels to be provided 7 days, and you don't have it on the 7th day, you send a notice to seller to perform. Maybe you give a couple of days of leeway, and then you send it on the 9th day or 10th day. And so that gives the right of the buyer to cancel if they don't perform. That's what it allows you to do. I know you want the confirmation of the rents and this and that. So you have to remind the listing agent, send them a notice of perform, and continue to, request until they perform.
Okay.
Or you negotiate and say, if you don't give me the tenant estoppels, then can you give us a credit then? Because I don't know what the rents are. I don't know what the confirmations are. I don't know what the security deposits are. So then if you can't perform that you contractually did, then how about give us a concession?
Got it. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, but the plus side, because I always look at both sides, the plus side is that the delayed delivery of documentation that's contractually required by the contract automatically gives you, the buyer's agent, an extension to review and extend your due diligence because you don't have the full documentation in your hand.
Yes, so that's what I think too.
When they push you to remove your contingency, hey, I've been reminding you every single 2 days, we still need this and this and this. And you haven't given it to us. I can't remove the physical inspection contingency because I need to see those documents, which we've been reminding you on. Please ask me when you haven't delivered those documents. Then you can show them the paragraph of late delivery documentation. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
That's the plus side. All right. So today we're focusing on the seller's listing presentation. And as you notice right behind me, I got a nice, beautiful dining table that I usually try to present on, maybe in the kitchen area, because that's where the people and the sellers feel the most comfortable, right in their own house, in their own kitchen. And I like to have a clean desk, and I like to be able to present and sit, not necessarily opposite, like you can see right here. I like to sit next to the sellers or the decision maker. Sometimes you have a spouse, you have a couple. Whoever the decision maker is tends to be the wife, because they do call the shot when it comes to home. So I like to sit next to them. I don't sit across, because that dynamic of that means I'm kind of like against each other. We're at a battle. And to me, I like to sit side by side, or at least at the angle primarily because I want to show that we're on the same team and same page, and I want to be close enough in a social distancing, whatever that enables, be as close as I can to be able to explain, point things out, and show the papers that I'm providing. Because the analysis that I provide is very thorough. I don't throw them with a briefcase of bundles of papers. I give them primarily 4 documents, okay? And what is those 4 documents that I present? I'll show you what it is like. So that's how I arrange and orient and seat myself, and that's important. Ask permission to sit first. Don't just sit down and own the home. This is their home, so you are respectful. You're a guest. You're a client of theirs. So you wait for them and you acknowledge for the okay to sit down. Okay. And if they offer you something, you take something. Okay. If they offer you water or tea, say yes, because they're trying to show a gesture, and you don't turn someone down on that. So you don't have to drink it, but I say at least uh, say if someone's trying to be nice to you, you accept their gratitude in whatever form or fashion. So now that we're at the listing table, we're sitting down and got permission and we're comfortable. Okay, we do some light talk at the beginning. How's the kids? How's the family? How's work? And then you have your materials on the side. Uh, just bring some of that nervousness or awkwardness away, so that way you can start talking and focusing on the presentation. So I usually chime in. I share about what I did last weekend, or what I did to save one another client and in transaction, or asking them about the economy, about stocks, about the finance, or something in their situation in their life. So that way I can just lightheartedly transition into the business side of the conversation. So a couple minutes pass. Me and the seller are now a little bit more easy, comfortable now. And they say, okay, seller, is it okay we start a little discussion on a little bit of strategy and ideas that I had about listing your property and getting it sold for the maximum price. I had put together a lot of time and research, making sure I do this right, because I really believe this step is one of the most crucial points for any seller to do, is selecting who's going to be the listing broker, as well as having the right plan and proper timelines, and managing our each other's expectations on what we would do and what I need you to do, and some ideas and suggestions if you want to maximize the value. Does that sound fair? Okay, seller, I know we're all busy, very, this and this and that, but how much time do we want to spend today, right now, so I can plan accordingly how thorough I am on my discussion? Do you want to spend 30 minutes, 1 hour, or more? So I try to get an idea of how much time I have. Okay, that's why I try to manage that expectation as well. So then now I know I got about 40 minutes with them. Okay, 40 minutes is great. That's completely enough time. I hope you had time to analyze the broker's CMA that I sent you yesterday, or a few days ago. The analysis is where I spent together some time on picking the appropriate comps of nearby homes that have sold, that are pending, that are active, and expired, nearby, just a few blocks away. They're all within a mile or 2 miles away from your home. And I selected these comps because of their size, because of their condition, and because of the most apples to apples that I could compare on recent sales. Okay, this is the most standard approach when we analyze the value of a property. But because I'm an experienced agent, I know that the sales comparison approach, there's only one aspect, but I also look at other aspects, including the condition of your property, the remodeling that you've done, the improvements, and things that you've added to the property that really has some good value, as well as the hidden value, which is the potential of your home, its buildability, its development potential, whether or not you can do an ADU guest house in the back. So I try to do a thorough analysis where I can kind of compare and make sure that we're not leaving any money behind or leaving any money on the table. My goal as your broker, hopeful broker, if you allow me to be your listing broker, is really to show all angles, to help you consider all the ideas and angles and solutions. That way we can come together on the same team with the right approach and the right plan. Does that sound fair? Okay, great. Let's go ahead and proceed, and I'll show you what I'm going to be talking about. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. And a couple of things that I do when I analyze and do a listing presentation is I'm going to show you what my email looks like. Okay. Here's a listing I had last year, and I said, thank you for talking with me last week. It was a great opportunity, and I potentially would love to sell your home. Here's my analysis of the property, and I gave them a CMA prior to me sitting on the table. The reason why I do that is because I want them to have a couple of days to review the comps that I used, what I selected in the analysis, and also see the condition, the interior, to compare it to their own property to see, well, hey, this one doesn't have a pool, this one does. Hey, this one doesn't have a fifth bedroom, and this one has 4 bedrooms. So you can clearly see I give them analysis of my CMA of this is my subject property, and these are the comps that I use. Okay, all in the Baldwin Stalker neighborhood, which this one belongs to. I showed the comps of the sales, and it has it all right here. And I also share some of the actives that we're competing against. And my sold listings is gives you some analysis on the date. And this is all of free resources available to you when you use your Cloud CMA. For fun purposes, it's okay to include this form on the Z estimate versus the sold price. And it shows that, you know, the Z estimate sometimes is too high, sometimes it's too low. You know, it's just in computer algorithm. And, you know, but overall, it's relatively within, you know, the 3% standard deviation that you would normally expect from a online formulated algorithmic type of analysis. And then you can see the property photos and what kind of finished materials did they put inside the property. You can see they do a really good job on photography and staging and or making the property look like a home. So those type of things are important because that's going to help ask the questions on whether they want to do staging, whether they want to just keep it original, whether they want to do anything before selling. And this property looks like it's original. They didn't do anything prior to sale. And it's still probably, this one was walnut, and it's still sold for 1.45. Okay. So just giving you an idea of a CMA, you guys all should know how to do a CMA on your own. But when it comes down to everything, you need to be able to price your properties accurately to drive activity, and you got to know what you're competing against, which are these actives. Okay. And then you do a little bit of a sold property analysis. This kind of shows a price per square foot. Obviously, it varies a lot because a lot of properties are either in good shape or they have high lot size and they're just bought for land value. There's a lot of differences to compare. But anyway, it's nice to have all that in front of you. And then at the end of the day, my pricing was around this range, depending on, because this is also prior to me looking at the interior condition. So when I have a situation where I've not seen the materials inside, I leave a larger range. Okay. And I tell them that's because I have to see the interior in order to give a better estimate. And that's why I'm here today, to spend the time with you and to understand what we're dealing with and where the potential lies. It turns out my analysis was pretty correct. I did get an offer in 1.46 was my highest offer on this on listing I took. Okay. So my pricing was pretty accurate. I tend to be more on the conservative side, mainly because I don't want to overpromise a number and then I underdeliver during the negotiations. I let them know up front that I tend to be a little bit more conservative because I rather go above and beyond. I'd rather manage their expectations that this is the range, but there is a possibility it goes above, yes, but I don't want to promise you that in writing. Let me work it. Let me show you what I got, and I'd rather show you results than showing you empty-handed. I don't have the number that you promised. I don't like to be that person saying, "Oh, I'm sorry." I'd rather be the person saying, hey, "Look, we agreed on this price and we beat it." That's the mindset I'm showing you as a tactic to hopefully expect and exceed their expectations. Correct? So set yourself up for success. Now, when I go through that, I give them a little profile. I let them know a little bit about me. I give them my Zillow testimonials. I give them a brochure that I do, and I talk about some analysis. I think it's important that I preview the interior so I can know its potential. With your permission, I would like to bring my partner, and we like to discuss strategies, this and this and that. Okay. So we did that. We went through the hoops, and I gave my analysis. I showed them an example of some of our nearby sales and our listings. I give them some listing contract to let them review that as well. And then we have some go back and forth and this and this and that. What I want to show later is how I present my analysis.
Kevin.
Yep.
Yeah, regarding the price range, you recommend them to do it. Is it we have to set up something and then that figure will be coming out?
Are you talking about this price range?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, this is called your homework. This is your research.
Yeah, but
So
but
what
how
I
we do
did
that?
is I took what's called these comps. Okay. And in this analysis, I took the comps of what's sold and what's active and whatnot. And I put in here a range, which is roughly $80,000 difference, that what I believe I could sell it for. Now, one of the things I didn't tell you is that this home closed for 1.3 million just in the same, you see right here? This is the subject property, and that seller just recently purchased this a few months prior to me taking this listing. So that's something I took into consideration. This seller bought it 1.3 million at all cash, and so I know that the owner wanted to not sell for a loss. So I also considered that I need to add value on what my commission would be and the other buyer's agent commission, the closing costs, the small money he spent towards repairs and renovations. And so I have to hit a target of what this seller needed to basically what would trigger them enough to sign to sell. So how do you calculate value? I calculated in this one value on its lot size. This is a 23,000 square foot lot.
No, I mean like which on the comp, and they have a column for us to do this suggested listing price.
Yeah, you fill in the number you want. There's not a formula. You put in your own number.
On which page? On the beginning, where is the area?
The very beginning, when you put up your Cloud CMA. You never done a CMA before?
I did, but I didn't put. I just finished one in east side. So, but I don't see this page. That's why I asked you.
I don't see this. You got to add the pages called recommended pricing.
Oh, okay. I got what you mean.
So whenever you do a Cloud CMA, add all the pages in so you know what it's reading about. And then you go, I don't like this page, or this is annoying, or they don't need to know this. This is stupid. And take all the ones that you don't like out.
Right? Cloud CMA, yeah. Where is the area we can do that?
So the first page is where you input the suggested asking price. And the last page where you review is where you add or insert or remove pages. So here is my most recent listing, which is here on Monty.
Oh yeah, that's the area I only.
So when I pick comparison, my comps, I have comps that I pulled from the MLS with the MLS numbers. Yes or no?
Yes.
I go to update. Okay. I put in the 4 bedrooms, it's 1,635 square feet. And then I look into right here. What is the price range? I priced this 558 to 578 originally. Okay, you see here?
Okay. Yes, got
That's
it.
the range that I put. And then when I continue to customize my report, I have a bunch of content on this page that I can add. I could have a title page, a cover page about our company. I could edit the language to write anything I want. I can write analysis and add a net sheet if I wanted to. I can add all these closing stuff here, guidance information. What is the difference between a CMA versus an appraisal? Do I want to add my client testimonials? Of course, you should upload it. And if you don't want to use their document, you can always upload your own PDFs into
Yeah.
Cloud CMA and add these individual pages like your own resume, or maybe you have a nice design or nice flyers. Maybe you have postcards that you've sent out and you wanted to show your marketing. Maybe you have staged properties that you've helped people do. And here's my stage property 1, 2, and 3. So if you want to add anything, then you upload into the Cloud CMA as a
I
page.
see.
Now,
okay.
that's where your testimonials can go. You can choose it from real satisfied ratings. It even lets you preview your stuff that you want to. I haven't uploaded my stuff, but I'm letting you know that it's available to you. And these are the ones that you have to pay for. So everything under premium is a paid to unlock, but you don't need these. Okay. If you like this 10 jobs for your real estate professional, okay, and you want to have this inside your CMA, then you print this out and then you upload it into your Cloud CMA, and then boom, it's free. Okay? If you want this Tom Ferry pricing page, okay, then you type your own out and then upload it.
Okay, got it. Sure.
You don't have to use and pay for everything. You can use your own brains and figure out how to use it.
I see. Sure. Yeah, I know. At least I know where is the area I can do something. Yeah,
Let me continue on.
Thank you.
So then I gave him my CMA, and I told you when I gave him my analysis, I wanted to sit down at the table to show a little bit about what I did to analyze. Okay, so let me show you what I did in this instance. Okay, so when I took this Arcadia listing in September, I gave him a neutral pros versus cons analysis. You can see here, right? And so obviously Baldwin Stalker neighborhood is prime. It's central in Arcadia. It's got a large lot size of almost 17,000, all flat. Great development potential. It's facing south, which is the most desirable. The neighbors, they've brought up, they're all developed mansions nearby on Longden. So to me, they really brings up the value of this land value. It's got a great big yard. It had recycled some of the foundation, and a builder could save on their own development expenses by recycling of concrete perimeter foundation. The financing for qualified borrowers is excellent. Record low historical interest rates. You know, all the good stuff here. A lot of this stuff is the same stuff that you would write in your Arcadia listing or in your Temple City listing. Nothing's very, very specific towards exactly Arcadia, except that it's facing south or it has a large lot size. But I'm giving you the information to give you what's called the ability to make better consultations in writing when you do your listing presentation. Here's some ideas. So the negative thing is the house that I'm dealing with is very small. It was only a 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. It's most likely mostly valued for its land value, a 17,000 lot. Builders and developers are conservative. Materials are more expensive today. There's China trade wars, international climate, cost of lumber, steel, a lot of technology like the microchips, and everything is more expensive today than it was several years ago. Labor is more expensive right now because a lot of people are doing home improvement and remodeling. And therefore, the people who are the contract laborers and the painters and the electricians, all this stuff, they charge more now because they're busier, right? A lot of options in Arcadia, high supply of available listings there was at that time in Arcadia. And it's hard to get, these are negative things about the property. There's unemployment rates is high, economic uncertainty, potential recession, global economy is suffering. There's no international travel to and from China. The foreign investor demand is kind of falling down because China can't put and bring all the money over as it was many years ago. It was easier to bring money through. So the fall, winter in September, that's a slower period of time. Buyers seek deals right now in the luxury market because there's less competition up there and buyers are a lot sophisticated today. So you can see a lot of this stuff is the same stuff you would write in today, right now in a listing appointment. You can use and recycle what I've already done, right? So that's just one neighborhood. But what if I had to do it in another property in a different neighborhood that's not so great as Arcadia? Oh, well, then you do what's called another consultation. So I've won another listing appointment and I did one in El Monte. Okay. And this address is in December. And this subject property had a convenient central location. It was next to the metro station. It had numerous public transportation options available. The what's called the gray line. And this one also was R1 zoning, but it was all flat, facing south, all this cool stuff. This one had potential for a double wide driveway, and you could recycle some of the foundation and framing. You could, this was this one had an unpermitted guest house. Okay. So when I did this, did this one during the pandemic, um, the existing condition was mostly original, somewhat maintained, but there was a converted garage, okay? And therefore it was a problematic potential sale because it's unpermitted and City of El Monte has a city inspection. So I listed that under the cons section. Old building, 1934, multifamily lot. The R zoning was R3, Lambert Avenue, which was near a very busy area, industrial zones nearby. So I gave a comprehensive negative view as well. No home is perfect. Everything has a pro and a con. And Sylvia, can you destroy these lines that you're writing on here, please? There's some red lines as our markings. These are other negative things. There's some buyers that are seeking deals right now. It's a sophistication. It's very tough for borrowers to obtain low down payment financing, less than 5% down, because mortgages climate is very tougher now to get a loan than it was several years ago. Anyway, I write down everything that I similarly did for Arcadia, and I just customized some of the areas for El Monte. Make sense? If you look at this, I did another one here in Pasadena, okay? And for this one, I did this one a couple of last month. I'm trying to get a listing here in Old Town area, and I live 5 minutes away. And so I try to let the client know that I'm very, very familiar with the neighborhood, and I'm very knowledgeable about the local market, sales activity, past sales, future potential of the home. And when I propose an asking price, I tell them that this is not necessarily opinion of his final sales price. This is opinion of the asking price that will drive buyer activity towards that home to create multiple offers. So that's leading and indicating, just like I preached before. I tell them that I am a little bit more conservative when I put a price in writing, and I'd rather exceed your expectation and deliver better results than what I can put than promise and to deliver you. So here in Pasadena, Old Town, it's a prime area, central, 14,000 big lot, all flat. This is R6 zoning, so you can do 6 units per acre. And so when I did the math, you could do you could be able to convert or develop the property to have a large guest house or ADU at the rear. In this one, I calculated it to be 2.2 units to be on the property, which is going to be basically two. The neighbors have recently developed and they brought up their home values up nearby. So he's one of the last ones to develop their lots. And it's a good thing because, you know, it really brings up his values of the neighborhood. And people could install a pool or tennis court in his backyard. The buyers could recycle the foundation and framing, just like I used in the Arcadia Longden one. Um, and the market is hot, hot, hot lately. Shortage of inventory. This is the perfect time to sell. Spring, summer activity is the peak period, and everyone wants to start looking right now after Easter. What are the negative things? Well, the negative things that he also had a very small square footage compared to all the comps that I found in this Old Town Pasadena area. Most of the property value is attributed towards land value, and his condition inside is a little bit outdated and more original. And I use the same stuff that I used before about the builders and their perspective is everything's expensive, supply chain issues. At this time, there was a Panama Canal bridge that has broken down. And so there's all these logistical errors and issues on a lot of imports coming to the US and all the areas of the international climate. There was also unemployment rates were still high and global economy right now is not great and the same stuff. City of Pasadena has a city self-certification process. So I let them know about that. He was like, oh, really? I didn't even know that because this person is outside the area now. And so they really appreciated my analysis because I gave this consultation, this seller told me, wow, I didn't know so much about this area. Thank you. I'm out of state. And this is really helpful to me to make my decision. I interviewed some other realtors and other agents, but by far in between, if we decide to sell, we would like to work with you or ask you further. And so this seller, really appreciated what I did to analyze and explain when I gave that presentation. At this point now, it's only a month ago, I followed up and he's saying he's debating whether he wants to sell, keep it as a rental property. And so I'm not sure which way he's wavering, but I'm still continuing to do my job, following up every 2-3 weeks. Okay. So that's kind of how I do my analysis. If you want additional language on what I do, I mean, I've given some things right here in Temple City. And I try to take a listing here. That's my CMA. Hold on. I did a listing over I mean, I've done a lot of CMAs, but ultimately, I'll show you another way to do if you don't want to do a cloud CMA, and in this instance, I didn't have time. I remember I was doing it for my friend Jeffrey, and he was looking to sell his Los Angeles. This is in El Sereno. And I didn't have time. I said I was going to send you something because he wanted to also maybe potentially just rent his property out. And I told him I was going somewhere, but I'll send you something real quick. You can pull this type of comp CMA from RPR. So when you go into your free RPR link from the MLS, then it'll pull together some facts about the property, the name, kind of like the profile report that we pull from Realist Profile. Those are the last photos of when he was last listed in the MLS. And it kind of shows you a little about the neighborhood, about the area, how much he owes. You can see here that the values have been kind of assessed values has been rising over time. This is a heat map for the market activity. So it's kind of cool. It kind of looks like I did a lot of work, but honestly, all I did was put in the address and I shared the report. So it's another way of sending more supplemental information. because you don't have to do exactly what I do. Sometimes if you want to do a quick CMA and you don't have the time, you can just go ahead and pull comps through the RPR, but I just don't believe automated value is going to be ever better than what I do when I do my own homework. So I told this to him up front that here's a quick one, but when I do my real analysis, I have faith in what I do, not what necessarily what the computer pulled as your comps. Does that make sense? So those are the neighborhoods. These are some of the comps that they pulled, and this is a 68-page report. So when you include all the comps and all the photos, it just becomes a lot of fluff. Okay, so I don't want to overwhelm them with fluff that doesn't really compare. I want to just hopefully just send stuff that is most apples to apples and not give them unnecessary information. Okay. Any questions so far? If you want to take a time to pause, I want to hear your comments on the listing, on some of my materials and what I'm doing wrong or missing, or something I want to hear, maybe something that you're doing well in your listing presentations that I'm missing. Anybody want to share?
Yeah,
Ask.
Kelvin, you know what, like the comp we give it to them, like you say, like some is not really accurate figure, we
Yes.
probably maybe show it to them, but later on they find it out. So, and they say, why I don't see this sales information on your comparison? So don't you think will be something like very rich
Well,
on that?
when you do are you talking about the automated one or the one that I do, my broker one that I do here at Cloud?
The CMA one.
Cloud one, right?
Uh-huh.
So you're asking me what happens and how do I respond when they say, hey, there's this recent sale nearby, but how come you didn't include it in your comps?
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why then. The reason why is that I didn't find that it was a comparable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I see.
So or it's because that property wasn't listed in the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
So let me say, you tell me what is the address. Let me look it up for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, usually when I do a comp, I put what's called, let's see here. So when I do my CMA analysis, I look for what's called, I'm going to show you my a certain what's called criteria.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I did a secondary CMA when I put my property on the MLS, and in this instance, I redo my CMA all over again. And
Mm-hmm.
what do I do? Well, when I have my comps, I look at the criteria, right? In this specific
Yeah.
situation, what are my criteria? And I did like, oh, everything that closed in the last 6 months. I you would put in criteria like 2 to 4 like 3 to 4 bedrooms. Usually the reason why it was not included in is probably because the square footage doesn't match, or it was off market, or it was not the same condition. Because there are certain times, or it was a newer built home. And I don't compare a 1950s home to a 2010 home.
Yeah.
So sometimes where I purposely take it out, and I don't want to compare it to because people pay more for a newer construction.
Yeah.
And materials in the building is not the same. So I didn't find it was apples to apples. And usually there's enough comps for me on everywhere here in San Gabriel Valley. There's enough comps. We're not dealing with a situation where we're like in the middle of Apple Valley or we're in the middle of Big Bear and there's not enough comps and not enough sales going on. We're in a high sales turnover area that I can find enough apples to apples, same kind, similar square footage. But it's when I do my square footages, I do give or take plus or minus 250 square feet or less. So if I'm looking at a 1,600 square foot home, then I'll pull it from 1350 to 1850 square feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then if I have too many results, then I'll narrow it to plus or minus 200, then plus or minus 175. Then, I don't need, if I have a lot of comps provided to me, then I don't need to go out farther. The closer I can get it to my true comparable within a half mile and a mile, then that's good enough. And the most recent ones, I put more weighted average towards. So a sale that occurred 2 weeks ago is I put more consideration towards that price per square foot and that value
Mm-hmm.
than something that closed 6 months ago.
I see.
So I put
Got
weighted
it.
average, just like an appraiser would do it. Because I'm not teaching you how to do this and say something 6 months ago and something today. It is a different market. Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's so to me, I'm teaching you a little bit more about what the appraisers do when they talk about weighted averages.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I see. Got it. Thank you.
Good question. Anyone else have any good questions? Nothing? Then let's talk a little bit about strategies on the dinner table, or some of the presentation, tactics, the language you're going to use, as well as some strategic ways of what's called word choice. So because I studied the English language very, very well, and I do know psychology, human psychology very well, some of the tips and tricks I can use in your scripts are going to be important in getting that emotional buy-in to supplement and complement some of the hard work you put into it and the research as well. It hopefully would just basically make further trust when you ask them to sign the contract. Because at the end of the consultation, at the end of my presentation, I'm going to slide over a piece of paper on this dinner table and I say, you told me we're in agreement. You told me that you like this price, or you like this asking price and my strategies. Are you comfortable enough now? Let's go ahead and put me to work and sign the contract. And I slide it over and give them a pen, and here's everything, and I explain through them to do this. Don't be afraid to do the ask of signing a document, because most people could have, when they had them in front of them and you're there with the decision maker and the spouse, and you've kind of wowed them through how thorough you are, this is the best time and opportunity to get them to sign. Okay. So how do we get to that stage? We got to get to the presentation portion again. All right. So I discussed the CMA. I've given my pros and cons analysis. I've given the third element that I haven't talked to you about is ideas how to sell your property for maximum value. So I'm going to talk about that third point. Seller, I look at your home and it's very well maintained. It's great and looks perfect. Except I have some ideas that I want to share with you. It's totally optional, but here are some ideas that I believe will help, from my experience and from my eyes, what will help in giving an excellent first impression to the buyers that walk through for their first time. And you know as well as I know how great and important it is to leave a lasting first impression with all the first-time buyers looking at your home, so that they can feel comfortable enough to write you your full price or better offer. So here's some ideas we should do. I think we are, and then everything's case by case. So I can't tell you. The home behind me looks great. I don't even have to do a thing. But if your home doesn't look like this, here's some things that we can do. Well, I noticed that your home has some paint that's chipped over here. And I can notice that the exterior of the building probably hasn't been painted in the last 5 years, huh? Maybe we should do a little fresh paint on the interior and exterior. And that's one cosmetic thing that doesn't really add too much value, but it definitely will wow and impress in the photography, in the images. And when they walk in, a lot of, they won't see all these holes in the walls or nail holes. They won't see the defects or the miscoloring paint. We can even kind of put some two-tone colors to have and embellish this wall, which is the feature wall, and then two-tone the color with the white ceiling and some expressions and highlights around the window frames, I think it'll look great. Okay. Boom, that paint, right? Oh, cellar, I noticed that the bathrooms haven't been, these are still original, correct? So, I mean, we have a couple choices. We could remodel the bathrooms. It might take a little bit of time. Or we could refinish some of the cabinets. I know a guy who can help you, or maybe you can get some estimates. They could repaint the cabinetry, or they could restain in the wood. And that's an easy, simple way to bring back the life of the wood, or bring back some nice, color to the bathroom, and it'll show much better. Okay. Oh, this carpet is really looking old. I know the bedrooms all have carpet, and uh, it's not too expensive to put new carpet in. We don't have to put the most luxurious Berber carpet material in there. We can just put something low or mid grade, just so that it doesn't have all these stains that we could see here. And we should probably prep this up and put some new carpet in, and or take out this piece of furniture. It's this big china cabinet is taking over too much of the room, and it makes the room look smaller. Can we relocate this to the garage or move it to your next property? So I give some ideas about where to put the properties and the things, and use your good judgment. You've seen enough homes, because if you're an agent, you should be looking at homes every single week and previewing it. So you should be able to have a good eye on what is tasteful and what is considered to be a nuisance to the vision and to the feel of the property. What is considered to be detrimental to the showing experience. But easily, I'll tell you some negative things about too many religious things on the walls or pictures might not be a good idea. Too many family photos of the existing family there might be a distraction. Bulky furniture, bulky dining tables and sofas and stuff like that makes the room smaller. So I would ask them to take it out or relocate it or move it because of that purpose of wanting to show a bigger room. Clutter. The biggest gripe I have is too much clutter in the tabletops and the counters, and it makes everything look messy, right? So even if they're still living on the property, I ask them to put away a lot of the kitchen appliances and put it away, or put as much stuff into the closets as you can, so that way it looks clean and it can shine. Um, Obviously, the some plants are nice in the house because that shows life. The green, the air, the spirit, the energy, the feng shui likes to have living things in the property. Dust, spider webs. People always forget to de-dust some of the smallest areas, like the light fixtures or the ceiling fans or the blinds. And so just the small little things go a long way, because there are times I look at a listing and I could see bugs all along the window frames, and I see flies and cockroaches and insects because they haven't done a thorough cleaning. That's such a negative. You could tell it's been vacant for too long, and who knows what else is deferred maintenance if you see evidence of rodents or pests or insects. So gap up those areas, have it disinfected and cleaned out and dusted, and hopefully you have the eyes and the detail, and have a professional cleaner go before you go live. That's important. It's not too expensive, a few $100 to get someone to thoroughly clean the surfaces and the oil marks. One of the fun, when I show a property, I try to not only use my eyes. Okay, that's only one of your senses. Use your nose to smell the environment. That's why they always say to recommend you to bake some cookies or brownies or something, a cake, so that way it makes the house smell like so homely and warm and fragrant. Or if you don't want to cook, don't worry. You can just get some scented oils or Glade-in wall plugins, or just spray some aroma into some nice what you call those oiled scented sticks, and have something fragrant to bring a nice smell to cover up, especially if they had cats or other pets inside. And so you don't want to be smelling urine or feces, or even I've been to senior condos. If you've been to a senior condo, you know the smell I'm talking about, and you can smell it. It smells like bedridden urine. Okay, you can't get rid of that inside that unit. It's just it couldn't go away. I even if I plugged in and put a candle in there in every room, I still smelled it whenever I came back the next showing. So when you use your senses, then you want to listen for the ears, right? Your third sense is listening. Have you ever been to a showing and you hear the smoke alarm going beep and it chirps every 5 minutes? Isn't that annoying? Don't let that be on our dynasty listings. Replace the damn battery for this client and get that smoke detector to stop chirping. Okay. Use your ears in other ways. Do you hear a lot of traffic from the front because you're on a busy street? Close your windows in the front. Maybe just open the back. Okay. Don't have all these distractions and noise or trucks rolling by. I know you can't control the neighbors, but at the same, yappy dogs, the neighbors' dogs, whenever you're walking in the backyard, they're going to keep on barking and barking at and making a distraction at your showing. I have done this, but maybe I'm not going to tell you this trick, but sometimes I get on the good side of neighboring dogs and I bring a treat. And that way, when I come by every single time, that dog remembers me as a nice person, not as a stranger enemy. But usually I'm going to tell you, because I'm online, you should ask for the neighbor's opinion to feed them a treat or to introduce yourself at the same time. Okay. So if you're going to do that, get their buy-in from the neighbor who owns that pet. What else is there? What other senses do we have? Our taste. We're not going to. Well, yeah, people feel better when they're full, when they're fed, right? So have some treats. That's why you have cookies or you have some snacks or some drinks available, refreshments, just to kind of enjoy your time while you're there. And they spend more time when you have food available at the property and you have more time to talk and ask questions. Do you have to? I don't, in a pandemic, I'd say probably don't need to serve any cooked foods because people are very cautious of where that food came from and who touched it. So anything you give during a pandemic right now needs to be individually wrapped if you're going to offer something. What is our fifth sense that I'm missing? Touch. Yeah. Touch the surfaces around you and you should not be able to get any of that dust. Okay. And spider webs. Okay. And if you feel that there's a lot of the other senses around you is like, when you could really see oil stains on the walls or this and that. That's why I asked for a degreasing or cleaning, a thorough cleaning. But other than that, when you walk them through the property, you have to do this politely. And there is a fine line between saying negative things all the time. They're gonna think this guy is just is pissing me off. He's telling me my house is great, and they're telling me so many negative things. So you have to do this tastefully, by the way. And so I always try to balance some of the negative things that I'm commenting on with some positive things. So I really like this fixture, what you did with it. It's a really good color. It really pops out. This light right here, this accent light, plus these right up here. I haven't seen this before. I think it's the perfect choice. Great job, seller. However, I noticed there's a little dust on these rails and around the top of these bulbs. Can we get someone to clean these out? And if I see it, buyers might see it too. Oh my gosh, these are great built-in shelving right here. But you have too many family photos on these shelves. And religious materials, what I learned in my studies is let's try to replace that stuff and let's put some objects. Let's put some little trinkets here or some decorative memorabilia there or some Go Lakers memorabilia, whatever it is. Let's put some not so personal stuff and more just kind of cosmetic aesthetics items to really just show that's a nice little shelving. So I'd go through the house, give them a consultation, do this and this and that, and give them my ideas to maximize the value. But decluttering is one of the best things they can do because everyone has too much junk at home, even myself. So that I went through the strategies to prep for the sale. Then I talked to the seller. I'm pretty much nearing the end of my presentation portion. This is the part where I ask, and do you have any questions about the sales process or any questions about my services as your broker? Okay. And then I let them, I pause. Okay. I don't say a word after I ask that question. I want them to ask me questions. Because the question that they ask at this point in time of the presentation is probably the most pressing item that's on their mind. And the top two questions they ask, maybe the husband asked one and the wife asked one, and those are the things that they're thinking about. So you better spend some time on that question and to a great point where you're delivering a great answer. What's one of the questions? How much is your commission? How much do you charge? And are you willing to negotiate that price or your commission? Okay. I can tell you one of the questions will be your rate. So you're going to answer that tastefully and say, that's a great question. Charging commission is part of, what I do is as a listing broker, it's twofold. Okay. Half of that commission typically goes towards myself, and that is shared with the buyer's agent who procures a buyer. Okay. And we do offer normally something around 2 to 3%, depending on the sales price per side. And in your instance, everything is depending on the price point. So if you're in the lower end, like a $300,000 condo, I'll probably charge 6% on for my sales listing. If I'm in the mid tier, like 700,000, 800,000, I might charge 5%. Okay, for that listing, 2.5 myself, 2.5 to the other broker. And if I'm in the $2 million range or $3 million range up, I might only charge 4%. Okay, because my rate in the scenario, the work is similar, but it's also different. But it also depends on what I have to promise as well. So I don't tell you because that's limited at that amount, but I make the seller pay for certain items if they want it. Like for example, if they want to do staging, that's the seller. I ask the seller to pay that expense. If the seller has to do any prep or repairs, that's their expense. Okay, but I try to not only use whole round numbers like 4, 5, or 6. There's 100 integers in between that. So I can charge 5.5% or I can charge 5.75. It doesn't necessarily have to be an exact whole number. Does that make sense? A percentage is a percentage, or a flat rate is a flat rate. At the end of the day, you got to gauge what your time is worth. Okay. If they're aligned with my price and then I know that I can sell it. But sometimes the seller says, I want this price, which is above my recommended asking price. And maybe it's a lofty goal that you have doubts on. Well, seller, if you want to reach that price, I'm going to have to charge you a higher rate because it's going to take me more time to sell that property at that price. Okay. And I need a longer term of a listing. Okay. And I would like to have a 30-day or 21-day time period after the first 3 or 4 weeks where we talk about the price and potentially have a price reduction towards my price. And I'll give you your opportunity. The first month, let's keep it at your price. And then we try my price the second month on. Is that fair? I'm going to work it. I'm going to try. But again, the market says it should be at this range, not this range. But let's try. I'll work with you. Okay. So there's some talking points that I cover regarding that area. But at the end of the day, there's so many things to talk about. At the end of the day, you get what you pay for. Sometimes they say, I have a friend or a brother or a cousin who says they'll do it for 1%. Okay. And I simply say that person, there's different ways to counter that or handle that objection. But ultimately, they're going to say, but that person is not as qualified as myself. I am experienced for a reason. I'm successful for a reason. And I know my time and my worth. 1% of 800,000 is 8,000 bucks. Okay. That's not a lot of money. Okay. That'll get you by for a month or two, but you're going to be doing, more than 2 months of work because you have 30 days to list, 30 days to sell, plus running around your gas, your mileage, your expenses, and the time, and you got to pay a TC, and you got to pay for photography. You got to do this and sign. You got to do all this marketing. So is it really worth it? You got to ask yourself that question, what you're worth and what your time is worth, right? At the end of the day, just don't, just charge what's the reasonable rate is, and you can justify that by your services, by your value proposition, by having one of the most highest and best uh, companies, Coldwell Banker, in the world representing them. And just our sign alone adds value to their home. It's proven in scientific measures that the public perceives Coldwell Banker yard signs as a more expensive home. There was an independent study done versus a generic ABC Realty loan sign. Then you talk about your marketing, your strategies, your plan. And I'm going to ask you, what is your plan? Do you even have a plan that you present? Do you consult them about the strategies about, hey, we could do coming soon and then active? Do you consult them on planning, the timing of when the best open house windows are going to be, which, I tell you, like, for example, Sundays, people go to church in the mornings. So I plan my open houses on Sundays after church, 12 o'clock to 3 or 4 p.m., right? The other things to talk about as strategies is the marketing material itself, like posting to social media, posting to Facebook, posting to YouTube, creating a website that we do with Circle Picks, creating a custom flyer, having professional photography. For higher end homes, we'll even do drone photography, and you can do that service for them. Or you can offer them virtual Matterport. And there's another idea as well that's called virtual staging, which means you don't have to pay $5,000 for staging furniture, but we could also hire a graphic designer company, and they will add furniture to your picture electronically, kind of like Photoshop, and insert staging into the property that looks like it's to the right dimensions, and it looks like it's just actually staged. Okay. If you want information on that, there's a company that does it. $16 staging virtual per photo. It's not that much. So you do 10 photos and you pay 160 bucks. That's better than paying $3,000 on staging for 2 months, or not. Maybe the staging is good because it does make, you could tell the homes that are vacant versus the ones that are staged. The stage ones just seem to draw you in more and gives you a better positive first impression. Yes or no? Okay. So consider it. I don't pay for staging myself. At the most, I go half and half with the seller. I say I'll credit you at the back end at closing half the cost. That's something that I could offer, but I don't ever pay 100% myself. That's just because you don't ever know if you do have a full sale or not. So after I consult on the strategies on whether they want to pay for virtual staging or whether they want to have a Matterport or virtual 3D Matterports or any of that stuff, we just kind of talk about that and lightly discuss it or not. It's up to you. Your presentation is your presentation. You spend the time how you want. I'm just giving you ideas of a thorough presentation, and you could pick and choose the elements that you feel comfortable in sharing and offering in your business. At the end of the time, at the end of the table, I say we've covered a lot of materials. I hope you're really thorough and satisfied with my analysis, and I'm excited. I'm very, very ready. I'm ready, and this is a time to bring up some excitement in your language and your voice, and smile at the seller and clients, because this is where you're going to do your ask. Okay. And if you ask with kind of the feeling of what's called skepticism, being a little skeptical, doubtful, or not confident, or just kind of unemotional, then they're not going to feel that from you. So to get a better batting ratio, to get better success, start to, whatever it is, build your energy level up, and you smile up, and you're going to set yourself up for the ask and say, all right, we've covered everything. You have no further questions. This is the portion where I ask you to go ahead and invite me to be your to hire me to be your listing broker for your property. Okay, I brought a copy of the contract, and I want to cover this in detail with you. So this is the commission that we talked about. This is the term, and 9 months. This is going to be our plan when we plan to go live, and I'm going to fill it in for you. And all it needs is just the initial down here and sign back here. And then I hand it to them and slide it over.
I got a question.
Yep, Adam.
Okay. Before signing, of course, we want the seller to sign. And if the seller says, okay, let me slip over it, and then we'll let you know. What
Adam,
the action?
Adam, I respect that, but there's no better time to analyze and think about it than when it's fresh in your head right now. So I have an idea. This is something that I do for a lot of my clients is, right, I already know what you need. You need to have a thorough discussion and analysis with your spouse. So why don't I do this? I'm going to step outside for 20 minutes or whenever. I'm going to go do some work and make some phone calls. And I even have a buyer that I want to share this listing to. So I would love to bring them over so they could see your home. But you guys talk, vet things out. I'll come back in 20 minutes, or you let me know when you're ready, and then I'll answer those questions you have. Does that sound fair? Boom. I walk out and let them talk. I make them make their, because that's all they want to do. They want to have should we do it? I like him. It was pretty good. But what did you think about when he said this? What did you think about when he analyzed that? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, I think his rate is a little too high. Or, whatever they're going to talk about, they're going to talk. And then you can come back in, answer it, address it, and handle that objection right there, Adam. Then they still give you the same response. He says, Kelvin, you know what? We're actually 90% on the fence. We kind of like you, and we believe you were the best of the 3 agents that we signed. So, but we just not sure yet. Adam, this is what I say. Seller, you told me that you wanted to sell the property. You needed to go to San Bernardino and because of your work, or you needed to move towards your family in the West Side. Okay. There's, this is a goal of yours that we've talked about already, and I'm just reminding you that the closer you get to your goals, the better. First, the sooner you can get me hired, the sooner I can help you get towards your goals. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. Let's go ahead and here's my suggestion. You want to think about it overnight. I respect that. Sign the contract with me today. I'm not going to do anything with this contract. I'm just going to hold this in my briefcase right now. You call me tomorrow morning and tell me whether or not you want to proceed or you want to cancel. I'll respect your decision either way, and I'll put this in writing. Okay. But what I want to do is, if you tell me to proceed and I can be able to make some phone calls and get some showing activities and buyers in here and other agents that I know that are looking here in El Monte, then I want to get working right away for you and get my photographer out and get some this and out. And everything takes time to plan. So the sooner you can get me authorized to move forward, to hire that painter that you want me to bring over, to get that person, the cleaner, to help you disinfect the areas and do a thorough cleaning, I got to plan them in advance too. So don't forget, they have their own schedules, and I want to get them in here quicker because time is money. And if your home is sitting vacant for X amount of days, you know, I know that. And that's why I want to be able to plan and strategize. All I need is just your blessing to go ahead. If you tell me tomorrow morning you guys change your mind, then I'll rip this contract up and I'll give you the evidence. I'll drop it off. But if you give me the blessing, then boom, I'm ready to go. And that's how I want to work. Okay. And I'll report to you every single week. What's the details and this and that. If I did that, Adam, I usually can get them to sign. Okay. I've given the walk out the door method and came back in. Let them talk. Let them answer the questions with each other before signing. Okay. And then I did the overnight trick and I told them I'll rip it up later on. Okay. Those are two tactful ways that work. I've done that. Okay. But otherwise thinking about it overnight is usually if you read between the lines, sometimes that means it's a soft way of also rejection too. Okay. So they're just, some people are just have a hard time telling someone to say no. So instead of saying no, they kind of say, well, let me think about it. Okay. And I've done this every time. Have you met a friend that you haven't seen someone? Hey, let's have lunch sometime. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, this and this. And then guess what? A year passes and you've never had that lunch or like coffee with that person, right?
Yep.
Okay. It's just a soft rejection. And that's where I tell you, Adam, or any other agent listening to this, this business is about your perseverance. It's also about, how hungry are you? Okay. And I'm not necessarily hungry, meaning not necessarily how your appetite, but how motivated are you to get to reach success? Okay. That hunger, that desire to make money and income or have sales under your experience, the people who have that hunger and desire tend to follow up more and to be better at actually, oh, you wanted to have a lunch? Okay, let's set a date. Okay, let's schedule it. Because like, just so you know, like anyone with a family, I've realized now, I got to schedule things in advance. If I want to have a dinner with someone, or if I want to have a vacation somewhere, or I want to just simply play basketball, like, which I love to do, I need to go plan this way in advance in order to have and make that time available. So other people are the same way. They have busy lives, they have work, they have families. So planning is appropriate, and so I try to respect that. But if you're aggressive enough, you try to have a nice mutual plan together. That's a great question, Adam. Did I answer it?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions before we end today's listing presentation mastery class? I was pretty thorough. It's nothing gonna ever go the same exact course like I just did right now. And so that's what's called the adaptability quotient of yourself, because conversations are going to go from not necessarily A, B, C, like this exact routine. Sometimes you might get thrown curveballs or questions or whatever it is. There could be distractions going on, or their baby might be in front of you and you can't even get a serious moment with the clients because their baby's crying, running around, and they can never be focused on your conversation. So whatever it is, you got to adapt yourself. I don't know what it is in your particular scenario, but take enough listing appointments or go enough and talk and practice enough, and you'll be able to see all these potential distractions or how to what's called bring this client back into my focus of where I'm trying to lead the conversation. So that's why I gave you my kind of steps, and it's okay if things kind of veer off, but bring it back. Control the conversation to where you need it to be in this circle here, in this discussions of what I wanted to share about my marketing, about my experience, about the area, about my ideas to maximize value. And if you really wanted to get more value, remodel this or that, or stuff like, what I mean? So you gotta be able to adapt to your environment is what I'm ultimately trying to say. And that takes practice, but it also takes you to be kind of having an open vision. Okay. And obviously, if you're going to a listing presentation and you're going to that home for the first time, you don't know what your surprises you're going to see, whether there's unpermitted areas or whether there's so many pets and the smell, or whether there's, a fight going on between the husband and wife. I've had that encounter. So be prepared. Okay. Look out for your own safety. You don't all, if your judgment and your heart and your instinct is telling you something feels awkward or wrong, trust your own judgment. Maybe you don't take that meeting. Maybe you just walk away, or you meet outside in somewhere public. Okay. Because your instinct probably is your best area where you can save yourself from potentially some sort of awkward things. But before you ever step in front of a door, that's why you arrive early, is you get a sense of the environment, you get a sense of what's inside, you get a sense of how many cars are in front and any noises that you potentially hear or screams or anything. So I try to prep myself and get myself ready. So I arrive early and I try to get a sense of the street. And I might see a competing yard sign down the street. So I usually try to drive this canvas the neighborhood first. So that way I have things I can pull up in my conversation to show that I'm a local expert. Oh yeah, this, like for example, I drove on my Bodger listing in Amani. Yeah, I love King Taco. That's just a walking distance and right down the street. And it's so convenient to the Gray Line. I drive the Gray Line whenever time I want to go to Staples Center. And I show them that I'm a local expert. I show them there's just features about their property is walking distance to this market or this restaurant or this Yelp, this 5-star review area, this and that. So that's some things to show and demonstrate to the clients that you know what you're talking about, and you're not a rookie agent. You're experienced, and you're here to offer these and features to all the clients and buyers that are coming into that door. So if I can demonstrate that to the sellers who know the area better than me because they lived there before, but if I can hit some points, they go, wow, this guy, that other agent didn't mention this. The agent number 3 didn't say something about, maximizing value. So if you hit all those points, guess what? You deserve the job. Okay. You were the most thorough. You were the most professional. Had the best analysis. There's no reason why you should be losing these to other competitors. So if they select someone else, but I tried my best, I consider that a win. Even though I might not have gotten the listing because I can't win everyone. There could be maybe they wanted to work with a female. Maybe they didn't like me because they're discriminating against my race. Maybe they didn't like me because I was too young, or I didn't have enough, or I was, didn't match their political preference or this and this and that. People have their own reasons. I can't win 100%. But if I did my job, I did my own homework. I came early. I hit all my bullet points. I gave them my ask, then I could feel proud that I'm walking out the door that I did the right steps, but something might have drawn them off, or maybe they didn't like one thing that I didn't say. Okay. Or there is something that they won't tell you, then they selecting someone else because they just using you for your time and for your consultation because they know you're good and you're a co-banker agent, but they already planned in the back of their mind to use someone else and they just wanted to hear your second opinion. Okay. People are users. Okay. Expect it. Don't be surprised. Oh, they wasted an hour of my time. I did this and this. I spent 2 days going over and I talked to this and I prepared this research and I didn't get it. Hey, you got used. It happens to us. Okay. Yep. But if you gave it your shot, there are times where they were planning to use me and I convinced them not to. I told them, your cousin, where do they live? How many homes have they sold in El Monte? They're an hour away. Do you think they're going to make every showing to teach all those things to these buyers here? Okay, you're not using a local agent. Yes, I know that you have trust them. Yes, I know they are your friend. I respect that. But are they really going to do the work that you deserve? Okay, so I've been able to convert someone who is considering their relative friend or whatnot. And then at the end, they come and I bring it home to here to me. Okay. Do you really want to share all your personal sensitive information, your finances, how much money you're making to your friend. Ooh, sometimes doing business with your friends is not good. I would hate to see your relationship go sour if this friend let you down. Or what happens if something disaster happened and the escrow fell apart, or something outside, like maybe someone broke into your property. I know you're not going to want to blame your friend, but these are the things that I do just to protect your home. Okay. And sometimes it's a little bit more politically friendly because you have two friends that are realtors. Okay. Don't select any of them. Don't make them create any animosity between them. Let me be your savior and I'll be the middleman. Okay. How's that sound? And then I get asked them to sign. Right. Any other questions before we end? Well, thank you for being here, staying till the end. And I got quite a bit of you today, and I hope you can appreciate the discussion we shared on listings, because you guys know it as well as I do. This real estate business is about listings. Okay. If you really want to have an everlasting career, you got to be great at getting listings. So I've given you a lot of strategies I use in my own discussions, but I'm giving you the plan. I gave you the language, and you can watch this in the future. Next time you take a listing presentation, watch it, put together some of the bullet points, use the same material that I have, and then customize it to your city that you're working in, or your city, or this area, or the neighborhood. You can build and have these same materials. I have the letterheads all in the drive. Everything's ready for you to go. You just need to do some of your own, what's called your due diligence, right? But at the end of the day, seller, any realtor could list your property, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to list your property. I'm here to sell your property. And that's what's most important, right? A lot of sellers are going to try to say, but they're offering me this and then discount that and this and blah, blah, blah. You know what, seller? It's not about a percentage. It's not about an X amount of a credit that you're trying to get, okay? You're looking at this backwards. At the end of the day, when I give a consultation to a seller, it's not about how much price you're paying. It is about how much you net at the end of the day. Here's a closing sheet, and I give them an estimated closing sheet. This person said they're going to do it for 1%, whatever, 2%. Okay. But look, there are discount agents. Guess what they tend to produce? They tend to produce discount offers. Look at their own presentation. They told you a price of this. But if we do this and you listen to my guidance on this, A, B, and C, I believe we're going to be able to get this price. And it potentially has the ability to exceed this. But here's what I plan to do. Hire me to be your broker and list the property. I'm going to get you results, and I'm going to hopefully exceed this net. Because at the end of the day, with their number, yes, you're paying a little bit less over there, but you're going to have less of net with them versus me. Okay. So I try to write some, these are people that are very price sensitive and very conscious on a percentage figure. But what you're trying to demonstrate is that the value you provide adds value to the price. And you could do that in multiple ways, but ultimately it's about setting the proper price. It's about how you deliver your presentations to all the buyers that walk into those open houses or showings, and being able to observe untapped value, which is called the hidden potential of any property, which is maybe its lot size, its zoning, its interior condition, and the ability to maybe add on or remodel or fix this and that adds value to the property. Or simply just some ideas you have could add value, such as maybe a thorough cleaning is some small stuff, and painting and landscaping and this and that. So that's hopefully how you could demonstrate a higher net. You can offer, hey, I can talk to people about getting you discounts on escrow or home warranty or services on termite and this and that. Our network, our agency has a lot of great providers, and we can get multiple bids. And don't worry, it's a free estimate. We can, if you're really sensitive about price, I'll make sure we get you the best pricing and deals. Does that sound fair? Okay, let's go ahead and go to work. Ask and sign, ask them to sign again. Sometimes you have to ask 3 times and then finally they sign. Okay, because you're resilient and you keep persisting. If you're aggressive enough, you should be able to get it, but don't be distasteful. Okay, do it, sign, do it in a lighthearted way is how I try to do it. Are we ready to sign and go ahead? Are you ready to put me to work? I can't wait to bring, I have 2 buyers I already know I want to bring over, blah, blah, blah. Can you get me a key by this weekend? Because I need to be able to show it to 2 agents that told me they're looking in our Arcadia. I can tell you, I know we can get this going as quick as you want me to get it going. Okay. All right, guys, that's a lot I had to share. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in 2 weeks during my next class. Someone asked me, Kelvin, when are we doing live trainings and my Kelvin's Keys to Success? And I'm hoping June or July, I can start doing some live trainings in class, in person, with 1 person per table, social distancing, all that good stuff. So see you guys then. I'll keep you guys updated by email. Make it a great week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.